All right, Shay. So for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, most of my viewers are probably just going to be on Facebook. People that pretty much know both of us. But Shay, when did you graduate again?
13, baby.
Oh, yeah. So both from the Poco area. Shay's quite a bit younger than me, but he's been kicking my ass in softball for the last couple of years, which I suppose that's as good a place as any to start. So, how's that been going? This is my first year not playing in the Siren Ball League. You guys dominating as you have been the last couple of years.
Ooh, boy. Well, it turns out about having one game a year where everyone gets too drunk,
Yeah,
and we just let them have it for us. And now we're on the comeback.
yeah.
Just need a little chip on the
So,
shoulder.
have you been beating my boys' team? You've
It
been
was
beating Summit Concrete.
not to say those guys were too old and they folded, but that's for other people to say.
They're not in the league this year.
Nope.
Oh, damn. Well, I didn't know that.
Now look at you leave and turns to shit.
Then they folded.
Yeah.
They can't put that on me though. Well, anyways, yeah. I mean, kind of the general topic that Shay and I wanted to get together and talk about was men's mental health, which actually I think it was Men's Mental Health Month last month or so. I was told by someone at my work. Yeah, interesting topic because there's some things that are central to just dudes in relation to mental health. But yeah, I'm just kind of interested in your story of the last couple months. I mean, I moved out here in March. Um, yeah, I don't know where to really ask you to start or whatnot, but can you take me through kind of how what your story's been in the last, I don't know, since the start of 2020?
Um, I guess we could start off with you boys bipolar one. It's good. Um,
Let me
but
stop you right there before you get even getting. When did you have you known that for a while, or did you just get that? Did you start getting seen for that recently?
um, well, after what was it, February, I was going in to a psychiatrist. I've been doing therapy every week, and they just kind of narrowed it down to that. But before I was aware of it, and now that I know about it, it explains a lot of the things that I've kind of been through and kind of think how my life has played out.
Yeah. So February, and I don't have a good feel for the timeline here because I remember, and I guess not. I want to be sensitive, but I know you probably don't care too much. But I don't want to come off as a jerk to the people listening. But so for those listening, Shay, you attempted to take your life. It must have been was it in late February then, or
February 10th.
February 10th? Okay, so that's the so you started seeing a psychiatrist after that day. That's what you're referencing there.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
spent a nice week and a half in Region Psych Ward, which, I'll tell you what, wasn't that fun.
No, I bet not.
But I had painted toenails at the time, and no one really wanted to talk shit to the guy that shot himself, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess at least that's one upside to it that you didn't have to you had an intimidation factor going for you. So, yeah, what would you say uh, brought you to? Or I guess I'd like to hear where my curiosity is at is where you started in getting to a point of despair where you felt like you wanted to try to do that.
All right, so in a relationship, we went to Florida that December, and I've always had an issue like with the winter, just kind of I figured it was seasonal depression or whatever. But I had a little bit of a breakdown. I just couldn't handle the travel, the where we were staying, I guess the schedule and all that, and it wasn't great. Found out she was pregnant, which I feel like at that point in time it all kind of clicked and was like, well, I'm okay with what's going on with me, and now we just focus on them. And then when we got back from Florida, it was kind of a I was kind of getting pushed away from
Yeah.
the family, from everything there. Um, uh,
And so this was around like December or January.
yeah, it would have been probably the first of the year.
Okay.
And then, so we bought a new house. And then, I was worrying about the house. I was worrying about the relationship. I was worrying about the babies. I was worried about work.
Yeah, and they're twins, right?
Yep.
I think I already told you on Facebook, but congratulations, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited for you.
She works.
You are gonna be a great daddy. I can tell that.
Get too many people that will beat my ass if I'm not. So,
uh, so you came back from vacation. When you're talking about a breakdown too, was it like you just got angry or?
so just kind of super emotional. I spent a couple days crying. I Yeah, I felt like I was all alone. There was nothing I could do, just helpless,
Yeah,
super, I guess, sad, depressed, and I just couldn't. There wasn't anything I could do to change that. And at that point, I'd already been on depression medication, but you know, trial and error, it doesn't exactly fix what I needed it to. So it really wasn't helping me.
yeah. And was that through just like your primary doctor, or were you seeing a psychiatrist for to get prescribed those medications?
That was primary doctor.
Yeah, so that wasn't really someone that
Yeah,
was probably was it just you like going to the doctor being like, yeah, I've felt depressed for a while, and they're like, well, let's try these to see how it goes.
yeah, and that's what a lot of this is just trial by error. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, so then everything just kept building up, job, house, money, babies, relationship. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I've got high anxiety, pretty depressed, being bipolar. That's just a lot of stuff going on at once. And it was just a kind of a perfect storm of perfect shit storm, I guess.
yeah,
Um, so then, yeah, we probably January it got way rough. We were pretty much fighting every day just trying to be like a part of the life, trying to find what was going on there, and just trying to understand like everything. And it wasn't working out. Um, then yeah, that would have been a Monday, the Friday before. Um, she just kind of blocked me and stuff, or not blocked me, but like just said, "Hey, we're done. There's nothing, whatever." Went to work Monday morning, felt real sad, texted her, and then got some not very friendly texts, and then grabbed the old shotgun. And lucky enough, I got really short arms, and it was a long shotgun.
yeah. And you shot yourself in the shoulder, right?
Yeah,
How's
here, short enough
I
on.
gotta say, dude, it is looking pretty good for getting shot in the shoulder. If you, well, I guess it's what 6 months now, something like
Yeah,
that.
5 months.
Pretty close.
We're back,
5 months.
baby.
That is pretty good. That's a pretty good looking shoulder for having been shot by a shotgun 5 months
Yeah,
ago.
I'm not gonna say Joyner Lucas and Chris Brown wrote a song about me. I don't die, you
Yeah.
know.
I did lose you there for a second. I missed some of the story, but I think it was some of the things, the events that led up to it. Um, and but so it sounds like things went downhill somewhat, like somewhat quickly, and as far as your mood and kind of what caused you to feel to feel like you wanted to take your life.
Yeah, and the one thing I might change. It wasn't a like I wanted to. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it. It was a it hit. I
Yeah.
knew I had a bunch of people around me. I couldn't ask for help. There was nothing that could have happened at that point.
So it was a more impulsive thing than
Oh yeah,
it was like a
very
6-month process. Okay.
yeah.
I kind of wondered that actually, and I think, I saw you, like, post something on social media, and I don't remember I don't remember what it was, but I remember I was thinking, I had I must've been right around the time, like, I was getting ready to move or I had already moved, and I saw that you posted something, and I completely misinterpreted it because then I later, saw some things. I think I saw you then posting about doing some push-ups or something, and I was like, and I was talking to my sister, and I was like, I'm like, "What happened to Shay's shoulder?" And, then she told me, and I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh, shit." I'm like, because I'd seen you posting something before, and I didn't,
Yeah.
that's not what I had interpreted it as. Um, and then, but when I did think about it, I was thinking, I was like, I never knew you to be, it's definitely surprised me, and I
Oh yeah.
never, every time I see you, we're smiling, mostly because I'm probably trying to, I don't know, you're probably trying to talk a little shit to me. I'm probably trying to talk a little shit to you when we're playing sports or something like that. But
I don't think that's it.
I don't
I've
see you
never.
unhappy very often.
Yeah,
So
that
I
was.
was kind of wondering if that was the case, if it was kind of the type of thing where, you know, it wasn't like you were had, because some people have a thing where they're been have planning this out for a long time or feeling that way for a long time, and I kind of wondered if that was, how it transpired for you.
Well, so I have probably since high school thought about, oh yeah, it'd be all right if I was just gone. Thought of different ways, blah blah blah. But none of it was like a yeah, this is a thing. It was just kind of thoughts.
Yeah,
And then yeah, it was like, oh well, why'd you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's like clearly it wasn't that well thought out. So,
yeah,
um,
which
but
is a
like
good.
you
I
were saying,
mean, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
all right, like you were saying, like yeah, when I told people like 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, I went and skated just to see what we could do. Obviously, couldn't move the arm, couldn't shoot a puck, but just skated around. And the amount of, oh yeah, why don't you have your stuff on? Oh, I shot myself. No, you didn't. You're always happy. Why would you do that? It's just kind of a. You look at Robin Williams. It's like, yeah, people that hurt are trying to help others so they don't hurt, and that
Yeah,
kind of resonates a lot.
yeah. I think I can. Well, and one thing in relation to that too. I don't know. I mean, well, a couple things. One in relation to like relation to men specifically with mental health. One, I think, specific thing to us is we don't, you don't want to give in to or admit weakness or admit vulnerability. Um, so that's a pretty big barrier for a lot of people, and that's gotten a lot better in recent years. But that's something that prevents people from coming forward and talking about that type of stuff. But I would also say, so I haven't really, I don't know if I've ever really shared this with anyone. I honestly had meant to call you after I found out from my sister and I got your number, and I don't know, for some reason just never went through it, and I'm glad we're talking now. But yeah, I when I was getting sober, probably like month 2, like 3, 4, I was just so irritable and such a shitty mood every day. And but I don't know, you know, I'm guessing most people to some degree probably see me as the same way, although I can come off as maybe like more stoic, but for most people, like, they probably a similar see me in a similar way that people would see you, as far as smiling and being cheerful most of the time. But, yeah, I definitely had ideation for probably, like, 2 or 3 months. I didn't really have a plan. I thought about, like, what I would do, but I was just in a really crappy mood, and it was, like I think part of it was, really facing up to not being able to escape reality or emotions or things that you don't wanna feel. Um, and I knew that I couldn't turn to alcohol or drugs or I was gonna have to, I wasn't I had shut that off as an option in my head and, having to deal with them as in emotions and things that I didn't wanna deal with, not being able to escape, just made me really irritable and made me to me, the way that I think about it, it was my mind's way of fantasizing about ways to escape reality. Um, and, honestly, yeah, I didn't feel like I think I talked with my therapist about it a bit at the time, but I didn't feel like I was at risk. I felt like I was, still under control of it, and it was, um, something that I was aware of and what was going on in my mind. But, yeah, I mean, I definitely felt it too, and I feel like when you said that, what made me think of this was when you said that when it had always been something like in even high school or something that's across your mind. I think it's something that a lot of people have thought about, but of course it's pretty taboo to actually say it out loud to another person. And it's probably maybe it would be a good thing for it not to be so taboo or so stigmatized. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I felt the same way. I'm sure a lot of people have felt the same way, but and same thing too. I mean, it's crossed my mind before. It never really gotten as intense as it had during those 2 or 3 months, but, yeah, it was something that had occasionally crossed my mind as well.
Yeah, I guess in my case, a lot of it is a process, I guess. Sometimes like, yeah, I got a problem. Yeah, I do this. Yeah, I got to do that. Well, so I might be fortunate where I had to get thrown into it. It wasn't oh yeah, let's slowly get better. It's like, no, we need to get better now. Kind of are in this position, so let's just grow, keep on going. And then, like you
Yeah.
said, the whole stigma against it, it's like, it's true. Well, if you don't know what it is, how can you let anyone else know what it is? So if more people can be like, yeah, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I am, then more people be like, wow, I feel like that. I have that. Maybe I should get it checked out and maybe something else can help me. And kind of like that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem, and depending on what kind of things I think you're talking about or what kind of, like, mental health problem you're trying to overcome, there's different challenges. Like, for example, for myself, like, giving up substances, um, I think it's pretty straightforward, like, to just be like, um, you know, it's pretty acceptable, I think, for most people at this point, or a lot of people at this point. You can say like it's not a weakness to realize what your limitations are, and that you can't handle drinking alcohol, or you're too far deep into smoking weed, or you are whatever it is, opioids, meth, anything like that. For some of the other ones, it's a little bit more, you can have different challenges, like telling your buddy that you're having suicidal ideations is, different than telling people that you think you might have a substance abuse problem. Um,
The
but
way
yeah,
I've
either way, I
been
think
kind of thinking of it all, it's all chemicals in your brain, you know,
yeah,
anything like that. And you can't really do anything until you're aware. And that's getting to that part is the hardest. And like you said, once you became aware of it and kind of you were able to change more, once I kind of learned more about, what being bipolar was, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. That explains this. This is what I can do. This is what triggers. Just keep on being aware and moving on.
yeah. So, what? what type of things started to make sense about your past after uh, getting that diagnosis and kind of, and I assume you feel like it fits pretty well at this point,
Yeah.
given the way that you've talked about it.
Well, basically for me, it was riding the highs and lows, and I mean, you've seen it. A lot of people around here, like if someone needs to get you excited, it was typically me. And it wasn't just excited. It was top notch. We're going, and that it felt good at the time, but the crashes, whew, those were bad. Those were the days where it felt hopeless. You couldn't do anything. Like your family and friends just nothing they would say would make you feel better. And yeah, that was rough. So yeah, now it's just like, oh yeah, make sure we get enough sleep. Make sure we definitely take our meds. Make sure, yeah, we're in a good spot.
Okay, I got you back. I think I missed you for a second there, or I lost you on audio.
All right, we're good. We're back.
All right. Yeah, so the crashes, that's where I lost you. So you'd hit lows for like days or weeks, or
Um,
what
so
were your
yeah,
lows like?
I said it was like a what's it called, seasonal, and for me it
Yeah,
was sometimes. Um, just the mood or the weather changed it a lot. The weather changes it now that I have the medicine. Um, there's just days it's like, yeah, I feel moody as shit. No real
yeah.
reason. But yeah, it really kind of not 100% on all the triggers yet, but you got to get there. So keep on learning.
Do you mind me asking what kind of medication that they change you to and how you feel it's working for you?
Um, so now I'm on Prozac. It's called Lamotrigine. That's the mood stabilizer. I just got bumped up to the 150, so we're doing all right now.
Yeah,
And then I take like was it vitamin B complex, vitamin D3, horse or not horse, fish oil. That's wild. Um, and then yeah, that's about it for now. Melatonin to go to sleep, and then yeah, that's about it for now.
yeah. And I mean, am definitely no psychiatrist or anything, but having worked with them, I guess long enough, I have some idea of kind of how that whole process works. And I know that there's, yeah, like you said, it's a little bit trial and error. You don't know how the person's gonna do on it unless you have a history. Then you can say, well, they did well on this or they didn't do well on this. But until then, it's kind of trying things out and seeing how you do with them or how the person does with them.
I was on an anxiety medication, but it felt like it really wasn't helping. I think it would help a little
Yeah,
bit, but then it felt like it would just be in a worse mood every once in a while. So I just had to
yeah,
cut that out. And then, yeah, the stuff I'm taking now just seems to be keeping us more level, keeping us good to go.
yeah. Well, and another thing in relation to the like psychiatry of things too, I think you're more there's some mental health diagnoses that um maybe more or less like necessitate medication, but I guess from my feel and experience with things that bipolar is definitely one that the medications are going to be big in helping a person out. So that's good to hear that you feel like they're doing you well.
Yeah. So it's yeah, literally chemicals in your brain that are like, hey, you see that happy thought? Be a real shame if someone just said the opposite.
So how are things going now? Are you? I mean,
Um,
you certainly
they,
seem like you're doing well.
yeah, like you said, this is the first time since high school I've had like mental clarity where
Yeah,
I don't have a ton of things going on in my head every day, and there's really nothing to describe it. But yeah, it
Like
feels good.
racing, like racing thoughts and just
Yep.
chaos in your mind.
Bingo. Yeah. But like, like I still get the mood swings. If they're not as bad, I just take a nap or put some music on, and it kind of fixes it a little bit.
Yeah, nice. One other thing I was just curious about, and this is something that I don't really remember um from experience. Did have you done anything different as far as like drinking or anything like that? Does that interact with your medications or
So I quit drinking for 8 months. I haven't done drugs in 2 years now, almost. Um,
so are you sober now or you've been sober for a while?
I was. I wanted to kind of definitely when I was trying to get my head right and make sure it was all good. I didn't want anything to mess it up. So
Yeah.
we were playing bags one day, and it was like, hey, that was a Keystone flavored beer. I bet that'd be fun to shotgun right now. Just get a little taste.
Yeah.
And that was there. I really wanted to test it with the meds. Turns out it doesn't affect it, so now I can have a couple drinks, chill out at
Nice.
softball, and it's yeah. But again, it's trial and error. It doesn't always work for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, on a side note, it's been kind of interesting out here, because I'm not the type. Some people when they've gotten sober or don't want to hang out with people that are doing drugs or and alcohol, other things like that. And when I've been meeting new people here, I have to lead with, they ask me if I want a beer or something. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. And then they ask me what I do, and I'm like, I'm a substance abuse counselor. And immediately it's like, oh shit, like what's this dude just gonna sit here and judge us the whole time? So then
Yeah.
I have to go into a little narrative on like I really don't, I'm really a pretty pro like substance person. If you don't have a problem with it, then you should not worry about it. There's just people that do, so those people should probably abstain, but I'm not
Yeah.
sitting here judging you. So I'm
Well, and
glad
that's
that I'm glad for you that you can still that you've been able to drink or you know on your meds without it being something that affects you majorly.
and that's. I mean, I played softball a couple years ago in the cities with everyone was sober, and it was me and Blake Hall, and we got looks like, "What are you guys doing, shotgun and beers over here?" It's like, "Yeah, we're all sober." It's like, "Oh, that's our bad." It's Wisconsin softball for you.
What were you two doing playing in a sober softball league? Just
It was just our team, and
oh
one
oh
of his
okay.
buddies from Hayward got him on, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah," and then yeah, found out a bunch of the boys were sober, and it was that actually helped a lot when I was going, staying sober. It's like they've done it for years. Like I can go however long without it, and they never judged. They never did any of that. It was great hearing their stories, like what they went through, and you know, actually, one of my buddies from Alabama, his girlfriend went to rehab with Kesha, so that was a pretty fun experience there.
Was this at Hazelden or a different or was this down in like Alabama or something?
I have no idea. I didn't get that deep. I
Oh
just
okay.
told him to maybe give her my number, say something.
Yeah, when I went to Hazelden, there was always the story was about Chevy Chase having been there or something like that. That some people knew him or something. But yeah, that's funny.
But and like you were saying too, and maybe it was just my personality, but I used to go to the bars with roommates, go be sober cab. So a good time. It was just my personality, and like where you were saying is some people there's literally something in their brain that like you can't drink and do that. It's not your fault. It's your brain. And yeah, really, what I've learned out of all this is that if you have to judge someone, that's just ridiculous. If you need to really get to know them, get to know their story before you can just make your own opinion.
Yeah, especially a lot of that stuff is I don't know. I mean, I still keep an open mind in relation to like substance abuse, and being that it's the field that I'm working in now, I spend more time doing it.
Mm.
I think you can develop. I think you can develop um, like addiction, but yeah, there's still a part of it that was out of your control, and yeah, certainly with a lot of those things, it's like um, the recognition has to be there that it's something that most people don't have control over. So I think it is getting better though too, for sure. And it's an interesting topic overall, just men's mental health, because there's a lot of ins and outs.
Oh yeah.
But can you still hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, I there's definitely like several topics that I think of in kind of relation to men's mental health. Um, there's I don't know. There's one in particular that I actually wrote a blog on for like promotion for the company or the organization that I work for out in Montana here. But it might be a little bit too complex for our time right now. I see we're coming up on like an what's something like 50 minutes, something like that. But
That's
um,
I'm siren kid. I can't handle that much.
yeah. Well, um, yeah. I think we should end it here. But I'd really if I'd love to continue talking about some mental health specifically as they pertain to men, different topics if you're interested in that at some point in time. Um, but yeah, and appreciate you opening up and talking about your story in the last couple months too.
Yeah. You know, another thing I've learned going through all this is don't let anyone suffer alone. You know, there's a lot of people that go through it, and there's a lot of more people that care than you'd think. So just keep on doing you, keep on going day by day. Hey, be strong, baby.
Yeah, speak up for other people. It's like, you're not alone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I noticed that that you definitely weren't afraid to do that in the last since going through that, and I think that's a positive thing. So, but I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and to talk about your story. Um, Definitely glad you're still with us here, and I hope we'll talk again soon and on the same topic here.
sounds good, brother.